Tony Cardenas, and this is the Indy Real Estate Market Weekly Podcast. Today we have a special guest on the show, Heather Herrin with D.R. Horton, America's #1 builder. Also, Shelly Walters with FC Tucker here in the Carmel office, and Kyle Morris with FC Tucker here in the Carmel office. This is not a FC Tucker show, but I think they're taking it over. Anyway, it's nice to have you on the show today, Heather, and thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Shelly, I think it was you got Heather to come in, right?
Yes, she is awesome. I got to do
You guys have had some deals together.
She's one of the best you've ever dealt with in new home sales.
Okay, and we got Kyle Morris that have you ever done a deal with D.R. Horton?
Yeah, I've done quite a few actually. Mm-hmm.
Well, good. Well, hey, Shelly, let's kick it off. Tell us what's kind of going on with the market, and then let's dive into the D.R. Horton world here for the Hamilton County, Indianapolis area.
Well, word on the street, the market is ramping up. I don't know. You know, Kyle and I have talked, and we just had a meeting here in the office and a couple of other agents. It's really changed over the past couple of weeks. So seeing a lot of activity start, more listings.
More listings, yes. Mm-hmm. I looked at the market, and it looks like it's coming on board a little bit. But, you know,
saturation rate is lower too, so more of it's staying as inventory.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a fast fury of home sales between now and, you know, the end of August. And before we know it, we'll be at the end of August.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I bet in about 60 days almost.
Oh,
less than that.
Well, you're a smart guy. Okay, but Shelly, let's talk about the construction market. I know that you've bought a new home, and I know you've had a lot of experience having some of your clients go to Heather. Let's talk about what's going on in the construction world right now with you and Heather.
Well, we wanted to talk to her because we wanted to talk about the different styles of processes you could go through with building. And some builders have inventory homes only. Some have the semi-custom where you can start from the ground up, and some are like the strong, very, large custom homes, again, built from the ground up. But so to have Heather here to just kind of explain their process and kind of talk about why not the ground up building and choices coming in and being able to design the house compared to what your process is and maybe why.
Okay. We really want to listen to what the market as a new home builder is telling us to do. So prior to COVID, we did allow our customers to visit a design center, make their own selections, pick their home site, pick their plan, talk them through that whole process. What we have found is that was slowing it down. It kind of complicated the process a bit, and our market was telling us that we needed more inventory. We didn't have a healthy supply of inventory. So we've decided to pre-plan all of our homes, and we call those our quick move-in ready homes. And what that has done for us, being the #1 builder in America, selling a lot of homes, we want to keep them moving and have them ready for move-in. So if we're controlling that and we're able to buy things in bulk, for instance, it's going to keep the prices down and keep homes more affordable. The more you're customizing things,
the more they go up.
The more
and delays.
Right, and it can cause delays. We can't always get everything now as quickly as we want. So you're kind of getting that, new home consultant, designer, as part of your service, as part of your purchase. Not everyone can have.
Absolutely.
Putting your home's selections together so that we know everything is what most people want, what they're looking for, following the trends, and we're offering them in the quick move-in homes. And so that'll get them into their homes quicker. It will make them happier because they're getting that added service from an expert and a designer. And then you also get some specials with financing.
Great.
You got to think too, real quick to that point. So like part of what kind of blossomed it is, you got to think you really kind of pivoted towards this when COVID happened. And I'm out there writing offers for somebody and we're writing off on 6 houses, 10 houses, we're starting to get exorbitantly over list. And so like, let alone like the finance piece comes into play, right? Of the liquidity and what you're offering over list. But at the same time, like people run out of time. Right. Like that's what was really happening. And then like it became this thing. And I think more people have taken advantage of it because I've got somebody looking for a house for 6 months. They offer on 10 of them. They're like super over list. And like, or I can go do this and move in 30 days and cool. I get some incentives. And then like I just think the way it all kind of has happened and has formed a part of the market. I don't know if we would have ever been here without COVID to a certain extent, but it's also, to your point, like helped affordability. And like, I don't want to say affordability in a negative connotation. I mean, like literally, like, I mean, you guys sell 500, 600, 250, like 310, whatever it is. Like you guys are pretty much across the board.
Right.
But the liquidity issue, I mean, that we've always talked about with buyers, you know, to be ultra competitive for like basically these turnkey houses that you would see on Pinterest, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, you are 100% providing a turnkey house, and they don't have to have this liquidity issue.
Correct. And, you know, they don't have that emotional roller coaster of bidding wars. Once you've purchased a home at D.R. Horton, it is your home with an earnest money deposit and a purchase agreement. So you know that home is yours, and we can prepare it for you to move in. So that also helps.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have very many homes go over list?
You know, we did, and it can happen. Mm-hmm. Yes. Right now, it is for sale for the price that we've listed.
Sure.
And that is the price.
That's good.
During, you know, after COVID, yes, we did get into some bidding situations and people offering more because they wanted to make sure. So we really just, honestly, we're going to follow the market. And what the market's telling us today, once they purchase the home, we're not taking the highest and best offer currently. It is their home with their earnest money deposit. And
not all builders are doing that, so it's good that D.R. Horton's standing by that right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're not in a competitive bid situation. It's like, I came in and signed the contract.
Right.
I'm good, right? You know, it's not like it's like, oh, highest and best by Sunday. Yeah, you're like, no, I'm here right now with a check. We're good.
Yeah. And your inspection won't throw the deal. Typically, on a brand new home, you don't have to worry about
be problems.
inspections throwing the deal.
Well, because you're getting a clean inspection and you're getting a warranty. But Heather, let me ask you a question. Where do you sell at?
Okay.
Or where do you represent D.R. Horton? Because I think that you do a lot of cross-selling.
Yes. I'm a new home consultant. I've been with the company about 16 years, and I can cross-sell at any D.R. Horton community throughout central Indiana. So we are throughout the city. We have something for everyone: patio homes, townhomes, cottage homes, single-family living homes. So we do have a variety. So, you know, just throughout central Indiana, and we're hoping to become the number one builder in this market, although they are the number one builder in America right now.
So let me ask you a question. Do you sell a lot in Hamilton County? Is that like the bulk of your business?
Really, it's everywhere. I go all over the city. We've got some really hot areas that are in higher demand now, like Whitestown. Oh, yeah. Fortville. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Pendleton. McCordsville.
Gotcha.
You got a really cool one going up in Monrovia. It's got like a water park. I mean, there's like slides.
There's a water park?
Oh yeah, the community's got a really
D.R. Horton
cool water
knocks
park.
it out of the park.
Thank you. Yeah. Amenities galore.
Yeah.
We did currently sell out of Hamilton County pre-planned communities. Hopefully we'll gain some more.
Sure.
But we have found that people
It's not like D.R. Horton doesn't have the money.
Right. I'm pretty lucky. So, you know, it's also, we're finding people are getting priced out of the market with today's market rates in Hamilton County sometimes.
Right.
So we're finding that they're getting brand new homes and getting them more affordable in the suburbs around.
Well, along with D.R. Horton, I don't know how much you can talk about this, but I do know that D.R. Horton, to give you a plug here, you do get some better fixed rates because you guys are your own banking center, your own mortgage center, which is completely different going to a bank.
Right.
Okay. So I know you have some price incentives, and that gives a person a couple of reasons to reach out to, I have to say it this way, Shelly or Kyle, to show them a D.R. Horton home so they come out and see you.
Yes.
Well, we Kyle and I have talked about this on the podcast quite a few times. With this competitive war that goes on with purchasing, not as bad as it has been in the past.
Not at all, right.
We really do tell our buyers, going to a builder can be the best process right now for you. Like you said, less stress, especially if you're not dealing with the competitive offers. You sit down.
Everything's being done for you, like she told us about.
Yeah.
Well, I think D.R. Horton. Like, I'm not going to be the guy who sits here and says like one builder is better than the other. At least not on the show. At least
come on.
pull me aside, and I'll have a different conversation. D.R. Horton has been really interesting in this market as far as like what they have. They're just listening to the consumer really, really well. So like they've got this water park one kind of down in Monrovia. And then the one in Whitestown is really interesting, which is, I mean, you could probably talk more about it. It's just a really interesting idea. So it's a large community, but you could literally move in at like 21 years old or whatever age, a first-time home buyer, and you could never leave the community because they literally have first-time home buyer, then they have like 2-story large house, and and that you can build all the way up and then go all the way back down to low maintenance condo lifestyle as an empty nester or whatever, and literally never leave the community because they have all these different levels of housing within this one community.
Yeah, and the price point that you guys are at, I'm looking at your website right now. You do have something available for everybody.
Correct.
Yes.
Whether you want to start getting into the twos, mid twos, high twos,
Yes.
all the way up to the sky's the limit with D.R. Horton.
Yes. And I think general public thinks that, especially your first time home buyer, they don't feel that a new home is obtainable.
Yeah.
And it actually is. And it is affordable. It's just getting the knowledge out there. So we appreciate you for that.
So then we did talk about this last week. We talked about that. What is your most affordable neighborhood right now that we can have for our buyers?
I would say Whitestown, looking at low maintenance living in our townhome concept or our cottage homes, which are single family living homes.
Well, you got patio homes, like you said, starting at $275.
Monrovia.
Right.
Shelbyville, believe it or not. That's a great area. And Greenfield is a great area.
Sure. I've seen it.
So those are all really affordably priced.
I like those areas. I mean,
Well, the nice thing about Greenfield, or what you were talking about earlier, you can just get in your car and go right over to the track.
Greenfield. I mean, I live in McCordsville, right? So Greenfield, you're like a 22-minute shot into downtown Indy, 25 straight into on 70.
As we said, it's probably closer by highway than it is being in.
Well, it's funny. You said
Hamilton
that
County.
because Whitestown is so easy to get downtown Indianapolis.
Yeah, because you're right on the highway. Yeah.
Right there.
And the airport.
It's easier to get there. You could probably get from either of those locations to downtown Indy quicker than Carmel.
Exactly.
Right. Well, and we these towns that were never on the radar before are strongly on the radar
The
right
suburbs,
now.
yeah.
Just to get
Indy's
out
just
to the
growing so much.
Well,
more
let me ask you
affordable.
this, Heather. Right now, if someone to buy a new home from you, is there any, can they reach out to you for any promotions in certain areas? Because I'm sure certain areas have different promotions. Am I correct?
They could, yes, especially some of our newer communities with our grand opening specials. You may get a nice move-in package in addition to any other incentives.
And you do for first-time home buyers, second-time home buyers, you do have FHA, correct?
We sure do. With our affiliated lender, we have all loan types available for customers to utilize with the financing incentives we offer as well.
Oh, that's good. Well, it looks like it's going to be a D.R. Horton world here in Indianapolis, Indiana. But
We hope so.
But exactly. And you know what? We ought to call you once a month, just kind of get a traffic report of what you guys are selling. And that would really help the people and the public, the realtors, to get it out. Like, here's how many new homes that D.R. Horton has available.
Yes.
And also what is just recently sold. What do you think, Shelly?
Well, and that was one thing when I work with Heather that's very, very helpful is all these, and you can tell me this, not all of them are on my board. Not all of them get on the MLS. So, if you have some interest so you do work in so many different locations, is not only being able to look and see what's on the listing service where everybody can actually see, is calling Heather and saying, what else is coming online?
And she'll be like, this is closing, and you can get this in September, right?
Right,
Correct. Yes.
So things coming up that we don't see on the MLS and buyers don't see on the MLS. And then can we ask you another question? What are your thoughts on, we get not a pushback, but we see a lot of people coming in. You guys are fine with us using agents or buyers using agents, right? I think buyers have this conception that they don't need to or they shouldn't or whatever, but you're fine with it, correct?
Absolutely.
Right.
It's the more eyes, the better team you have to look out for you in this process. Hey, we're all human beings, right? So it just makes a great team effort. When it comes to new home builders, we want real estate agents to refer their clients to see us and check out new homes. homes. So therefore, there's a separate marketing budget that has nothing to do with the price they're going to pay for their D.R. Horton home, where new home builders already plan ahead for that to compensate your real estate agent to help represent you through the process. And your real estate agent can add so much value. They can attend what we call an orientation meeting, which is like a walkthrough to acclimate you to a new house and kind of be part of that process, and what we call as a final walkthrough before a closing, which the real estate agent can be at with our customer to help walk them through closing documents as well.
Sure, that's great.
So we really encourage it, honestly. We really want real estate agents to know, hey, talk about new homes and let your clients know that this is obtainable, and they actually might get more. It's really a win for everyone.
Well, it's nice to have two people on your team rather than just one.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Besides, I mean, you're the main person that they're buying from. And then what they don't understand after they buy a home, it goes through a process. But then you have an agent on your side, and that agent's walking through the process.
Yes.
You know, because you can't handle every customer and every build. Your job is to sell them, get them going, and then you have a process that they have to follow.
Correct.
And it's nice to have the realtor behind the scenes.
Yes. And that's why I was so grateful to work with Shelly. She was on it, I tell you. She did an amazing job representing her clients that did purchase a home with us, and she was just so responsive, so helpful for them, and making the process really smooth.
Thank you.
I'll say D.R. Horton is the only builder that I deal with that consistently is calling me and updating me what's going on.
That's
where.
nice.
Like literally, like, hey, I've got this, I got this, I got this, I got this. You know, does it fit anybody? Nobody else does. Like, I have to find it on the MLS or whatever. Which
You
is
got to look
fine.
for
Like,
it
I
if
can
it's
do all
not
that.
on the MLS.
Right, but they're, you know, I got this coming in September. I got this in like a week. I got this in 2 weeks, and like that helps exponentially with representing buyers. It just does. It just absolutely
Thank you.
does.
Yeah. I think with them being the number one builder in America, they really get the best people to work for
They
them.
kind of get it. Yeah.
We have really good people. You know, for example, like I'd said, I've been with the company 16 years. You are getting pros. You're getting people that really know what they're doing.
Well, I do know some construction managers that have left big companies here in Indianapolis, Indiana, with other builders that you guys have gotten. I personally know, and they went to D.R. Horton.
Yes.
And it's because you guys got probably all the benefits to offer these guys.
Yes.
You know, you're still building homes, and they get the cream of the crop.
Yes. And
I do know that.
Yeah. Great company to work for.
Okay. Well, thank you for everything on the D.R. Horton foreground for America's number one builder. Shelly, let's get into a little bit what is going on with listings and sales, and let's kick it off with Carmel.
Well, we had an uptick for sure. Carmel had 62 hit the market, 27 of those pended, and the average days on market was 12, with the median being 5 for the past 7 days.
62?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big change.
Yeah. Yeah, my inbox, because I watch, you know, the cities. I have all the different searches and everything
Sure.
to see what's coming on the market, and my inbox was just crazy this past couple of weeks of houses hitting the market. So that's a good thing. Currently, there's 89 on the market in Carmel. 27 of those are new builds. Sold in the past 30 days, 142, and the average days on market was 13, and the median was 4. So we're staying right the same. I think the last 2 to 3 weeks, we're not seeing an uptick in days on market or going down. I mean, I don't know how much farther down we can go from 4, but you know, we're averaging around 13 and a median of 4. So Westfield, we have 38 that hit the market, so not very many in Westfield. 10 of those pended, and their days on market are a lot higher. So past 7 days was average 29 and median was 18. 194 active in Westfield right now. So a lot of those new builds, as we know. And then in Westfield, the other thing I saw was 146 sold, and the amount of new builds was extremely high too. So same every week.
Right,
Keep
exactly.
talking about that. That's what Westfield does is new builds. And then in Zionsville, 12 hit the market, 5 of those pended.
Wow.
And their median days on market is staying anywhere from 4 to 5 days in the past 30 days. 56 are currently on the market, 41 sold in the past 30 days.
Wow. Okay, let's move it over to Kyle Morris with FC Tucker. What do we got, Kyle?
I'm just thinking about that Zionsville inventory for a second, man. Like that's
Yeah.
Well,
They've just been historically so
I know.
low.
You can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why we say if you're a seller in Zionsville, get your house on the market.
Yeah. Get
it on
You've got
now.
No
Get-
competition.
right.
You're going to do really well with it. Fishers, I mean, we've got a little bit of an uptick. I mean, the actual numbers I would say are similar to 2 weeks ago versus 1 week. Fishers, we had 42 go on the market, anywhere from like 254 to 2.7. But like 31 of them are still active. So it's kind of weird. Only 11 that went on the market last week pended,
Right.
but 31 total did, right? So the numbers kind of represent that. You know, we got average of 27 days on market, but the median is 9. There's 113 actually on the market. So that number keeps going up. It was like 92, then 96, then 100, and then 113.
Right.
Things are sitting like just a little bit over a week. So now when I'm pulling the stats, right, it looks like it's a little bit lower on it, but it's really like over a 2 week time frame, like just like a significant amount of selling. Noblesville was pretty similar. 36 went on the market, anywhere from 187 to 950. 24 of those are still active, right? Only 12 pended out of those 36, but 22 actually pended last week, right? Their days on market is really odd. I think for the past year, Noblesville has been higher than Fishers, and then the past 3 weeks, Noblesville has been significantly lower than Fishers. Their average days on market is 10 days on market, and their median is 4, and there's 113 on the market there as well. So it's kind of interesting, but both Fishers and Noblesville, like counter to Westfield,
Right.
I've got like no new construction. I mean, when I looked at all of these, I mean, we're talking about, what is that, about 78 homes. I think I saw like 3 new constructions on there, like maybe a little bit more than that, less than 10 for sure out of all of those, which is kind of interesting because those are, especially Fishers tends to have a lot of new construction out there as they're building out towards Portville and stuff like that, right?
Better watch out, DR Horton's coming.
Well, but even like those aren't hitting, right? Fortville is very interesting because like it's Hancock County part of it, it's HSE schools, some of it, it's kind of a different area, but I don't know. It's really kind of an interesting market because it's like a 2 week market, and I think it's the first time we've kind of been in that this year. Exactly. And so people are like, oh, it didn't sell over the weekend. Now what do I do? Right. When I'm like,
we're getting into some normalcy.
Well, we're not there yet.
Well, I know, but we're on our way.
We are on our way. And so like, you don't need to panic, 20 days on market. You just don't, I mean, you need to be having conversations at 14 days of like where we at, and the next 7 days will be the dictation of like how we move forward with this. But I don't think that's a big deal to be on the market 14 or 20 days. Now, 20 days, I'd probably want to change the price so I can, so it's not a stale property or whatever. But I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting market. And I also think buyers have a little bit of leverage right now if it did make it through that first weekend. But I would also tell sellers,
it's kind of nice to see the buyers have a little bit of leverage.
It is, but I would also tell you it's just because the sellers aren't educated, because like if I have a seller and I'd be like, we're not freaking out, don't budge on price. Like this is just how it is, and like you're in a good spot.
Absolutely.
And so I think sellers could be educated a little bit more of you don't have to give away the baby or whatever that saying is, or you know what I mean?
Well, if we're looking at the pendings, just if I look at Carmel, and if we take the averages, which is when we talk about average versus median, the median is basically we're looking at houses that hit the market and sold immediately. The averages is what we're looking at, all the inventory that's been sitting for a while. So in Carmel, it's 12, Westfield, it's 29, in Zionsville, it's 38, and that's the past 7 days. So we're not talking about these houses coming off the market in the first week. So to make that knee-jerk reaction of, oh my gosh, I've been on the market 2 weeks, what's wrong with my house? Nothing. We're looking at 30 days. And then and just the past 30 days of sales, it's the same, 13, 39, and 9. So, yeah, don't panic. It's not, happening as fast as it was.
Well, and let's say your first weekend, you have a little bit light showings, okay? I mean, if you have a ton of showings, like that just speaks for itself, right? But like light showings the first weekend, I just don't think that's a huge ordeal when we have a huge section of the buyer's pool waiting till the second week to make sure that it's not this crazy overlist
Right.
house, right?
Buyers aren't in the mood to do that anymore.
They're not, right? There's just fatigue with it,
Yeah.
right? And so I think the second week of showings is a better indicator of how your house is performing
Absolutely.
right now. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, as a whole, I mean, obviously if you have the one that's like insane, like it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out like this was a good house and, you know, priced really, really well. But that's just not every house, right? So like, I can't judge everything based off of the rarities, right? Like I have to do it based off of the norm.
Exactly.
And I just don't think it's a freak out time.
Well, along with that, you know, we got interest rates that are still on the higher sector of
They're up
everything.
there,
Okay.
yeah.
So let's go with the interest rates right now. You're talking about an average rate, a 780 credit score, 760 credit score, 80% loan to value. You're talking 7.25% to 7.5%, depending on what lender you're going to. The average is 6.92 in America. But right here in Indiana, you're going to be in the sevens. And on the 15, you're going to be right around 6.375 to 6.65. The ARMs don't have any great opportunities right now, so I would definitely stay away from an ARM. And then you got your FHA, which is pretty good for first-time home buyers, second-time home buyers. They're in the mid sixes, and then you got your VA in the mid sixes. So the interest rates are making this second and third week happen. Okay, and Wall Street Journal says we're going to see a little bit of an uptick in the rates, but at the same time, the market's coming out here, and I think you guys are going to have a great couple weeks here because we're getting a lot of inventory. It brings out buyers.
It does.
And the funny thing is, my phone has started to ring in the past couple of weeks as everybody's
It's
like,
ringing now. No, just kidding.
but they just want to talk. They're like, oh, I want to get my house sold before school starts. We're almost past that.
I know it.
You know, I mean, if it's 30-day close, we're looking at school starting in 5 weeks. So
Exactly right. Isn't that crazy?
we've kind of missed that window.
Does that really matter anymore? I mean, it
Not
seems
as
like the last
much.
few years.
Not as much.
Like a lot of people, you know, you would not want to see August come or September, and now, you know what? It's going to be interesting to see what our closed sales are and our pendings are this August, because I think it doesn't matter that much anymore.
It hasn't mattered as much. I mean, we had a very strong cyclical season here
Yes,
in
you have.
Indiana forever, and the past 2 years has thrown that out the window.
Exactly.
But if you haven't bought or sold, that's still your mindset, right?
Right.
So it's still definitely a conversation.
Yeah.
I
Well-
mean, it just is.
Well, I want to touch on something. Last week, we had Raquel on the show, and we were talking about first-time home buyers, and I think the show went really well, and I would like to get her back on the show probably in about 2 to 3 weeks, whenever we can figure it out, and talk. Let's go like level 2 on that. I've had a couple people reach out to me and said, you know, I did want to do it, and I thought, man, did I miss the boat? So thank you to Raquel for bringing that up and making that happen. It's, you know, I'm not a guy that says thank you very much, but I got to tell you something. I had 2 phone calls that said, why didn't you guys do this a long time ago? And I'm telling you, it was a really good show. I don't know if you guys, did you get any feedback from it?
She sees stuff mentioning on
Raquel?
Facebook and stuff.
Since I just got it, the video uploaded yesterday.
Okay. Well, anyway, and I was getting everything out late, so I do apologize for last week, and I will get on this today, Shelly.
Let's
But
get
the
our
bottom
house.
line is,
Let's mic up Shelly as they go and show houses and throw in little tidbits.
that'd be fun. So the bottom line is,
Get the
thank you to
believers
Raquel
ready.
for last week's show. I did have a couple people reach out to me. One, believe it or not, was through an old friend that says, well, I just didn't know anything about this. And I put a blind eyes to it. So we need to do this again with Raquel in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Okay.
Well, and Heather, I'm talking about that as well.
Exactly.
You know, where your first-time home buyer possibilities are, you have that, right? I mean, you have the ability to help with first-time home buyers in regards to price points.
Absolutely. And, you know, technically you become a first-time home buyer as long as you have not had a mortgage in your name for 3 years.
Exactly.
Believe it or not.
36
It's not really
months,
what you
or
would
37,
think.
right.
Right, right. And anyone can really utilize FHA. You don't technically have to be a
Oh,
first-time home
absolutely
buyer. So yes.
I think too, it helps because I mean I've helped a ton of first-time home buyers, and dad or uncle or whoever wants to come along on inspections, which is fine. I'm used to that stuff, and they will just come up with the craziest things about a house. You know, they'll be like, I don't know, this drywall feels subpar, and I'm like, man, it's drywall. I don't know what to tell you.
Exactly.
But you got a new house, like you ain't gonna find a problem with a new house. You know what I mean?
You can have all the moms and dads.
It'll
you know,
just fine.
Bring the family.
Bring the family.
And you got, what, 6 months or a year to get it all fixed up or whatever you need to do with the warranty or adjustments or whatever. Everybody's
Right.
got to sign off.
Right.
Well, hey, thank you for having Heather Herrin from DR Horton, America's #1 builder here today. Heather, thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you for
having me.
getting around the show, Shelly. I do appreciate that. Kyle, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, how can they do it?
It's Morris Property Group with FC Tuckers, 317-649-5122.
Okay. And Heather, how can somebody get a hold of you if they want to talk about a new home?
Just give me a call or shoot me a text. I'm at 317-223-8239.
Okay. And Shelly, if somebody wanted to talk to you, how can they get a hold of you, and who do you work for?
You can reach me on my cell phone, 317-201-2601. I'm an FC Tucker in the Shelly Walters Realty Group.
Okay, everybody, thank you for listening to the show this week. My name's Tony Cardenas, and we will talk at you next week.